Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, buddy.
Yeah,
Freaking pumped.
let's go.
2023 is in the building.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, buddy.
Yeah.
Freaking pumped. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. Open this up. Beautiful. Let's go. Great morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family, legends and legendettes from around the world. Hope everyone is doing most spectacular. We got ourselves a very, very exciting day because today the markets are open. Hit me with a quick one if it feels like the market's been closed for like 7 weeks. Again, allegedly that's not the case. I think it's only been a few days, but it still feels that way. Also being streamed live on YouTube. Ola, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Hope everyone's doing fantastic. Let's see who is here live in the real life trading all access pass trading room. Jay Linder is here. Yavaris, welcome. Andrew, welcome. Baez, Chris McCoy, Hector, Sam, Bill. Sweet. Well, my friends, I'm here to kick it off. Welcome to the beginning of the year. 2023 is in the building. Today is the 3rd, and you're going to have some really, really fun moves this month, I think, on a lot of stocks, because anything that's gapping nicely, we're getting a gap on a daily chart, a weekly chart, a monthly chart, and for anyone who uses yearly charts, we might be getting a good gap on yearly charts. Now, the reason I'm bringing up gaps is because those are what create good momentum for us oftentimes in the market. So if you can find a really good day trade setup or a good gapping opportunity, that can create some nice movement, momentum, and just overall fear direction. So we're going to be looking at a few of those. And for the rest of the year, just on a swing trade basis, one of my focuses is going to be for both swing trades and day trades is I'll still be using the 10 EMA strategy a lot if I see it, of course, because it did help us and it worked so fantastically well for so many people in 2022. But I'll be working with double tops, double bottoms as my 2 primary focuses for the year. And I will be just playing with, I think it'll be fun. I'm going to be doing moon phases, as crazy as that sounds. And so I'll be talking all access pass when exactly I will start doing that. Well, sorry, not when, more of what. All right, because you can't just go buy everything. So like, what am I going to focus on? So that'll be kind of cool. Chuck says, hi. What's up, Chuck? Thanks for being here, buddy. Maloney, thanks for chatting with me this morning. Always good to chat with you. So speaking of double tops and double bottoms, well, ladies and gentlemen, we have one, or at least what appears to be one, in my opinion, here on the broader markets. So this is the SPY. And what we're noticing presently is you have all of this volume here that's coming in as a support. You also have this little pivot there, and we are below that. And not only are we below it, but we have been realistically consolidating into this area for quite some time. And that consolidation is just leading to more and more overhead supply coming in as these moving averages kind of come down to eventually kind of press this thing lower. So if I turn on those moving averages really quick, this is the 10, 20, and 50 on the daily. You can kind of see them acting as a little bit of an overhead resistance of some sort. Now, what is cool about today's gap on the SPY is that we are actually opening above the high of numerous days. So if I were you, I would take very, very close care and notate this 10 EMA on the daily chart, because we are gapping above that 10 EMA on daily, and that will become old resistance, new support. If I pop in here to the hourly chart, we can kind of see that we've already a little bit have interacted with that spot. I think it's valid that it happens again. So we can see the SPY. I'll just do a quick little rough drawing here with my trackpad. So the SPY is in a slight little channel / resistance time frame anyway. So this is the hourly chart. And so as we're looking at the hourly chart, we can kind of see how that support resistance channeling effect, if you will, on the hourly time frame. So what I would do is I would then draw a resistance line, and I'm gonna kind of throw it into here. So that's on the hourly time frame. Then I'm gonna pop back to the daily, and I'm gonna draw a line at the 20 EMA, and you will notice if I draw a line at the 20, that's pretty much exactly where we failed pre-market as well. So long story short, if we're looking at the SPY, this gap up, I would expect it to probably pull back into here, trade back up into here, and then fail. That's a possibility. Possibility number two is, since we are gapping nicely above numerous days, we kind of out the gate run up into the 20, maybe a little bit above, and then we have that pullback. That's also a strong possibility. And so if you're doing that setup, you can almost go ahead and kind of pre-plan an entry at about 387.62 or thereabouts, with a stop loss at 388.62. So right around $1 risk reward. And so if we pop back into an hourly chart really quick, we can kind of look at and see a little bit about what it, or I should say, get a general idea of if you're playing this channel, you'll notice these prior highs here. We definitely want to get above there. And so we would have an entry, yeah, I'd say probably right about there, 387.79 with a stop at, well, $1 higher than that, 388.79 approximately. So in the SPY, that's going to be a little bit of a tight stop, but it does help you at least, again, have that dollar range. Usually if I'm trading SPY early morning meaning the first 30 to 45 minutes, I do allow myself to have a $2 or $3 stop loss on SPY. Not that it's always needed, but it usually comes in handy. So 387.79, probably take it up to about 389.79. That gives you $2. And that still gives you a 1 to 2 risk reward to pull back, actually even higher than where we are at this exact moment in time. So that's kind of how I would pre-frame or kind of pre-plan a potential move on SPY. So here's the 20 EMA on daily. And I think most people are here probably to see my analysis on Tesla. So make sure we do some analysis on Tesla here in just a few quick seconds. But today is Tuesday, and there are a lot of interesting gaps out there. So if I pop over here really quick to PayPal, PayPal is a nice gap up. And I did put some shares of PayPal. So that's a reason I'm looking at it. I'm being a little selfish, but number two, I did post a chart on PayPal over the weekend in TradingView. And what I really like about it is you have the strong support. You can kind of see that prior support. In fact, type a 2 in the chat pane, either in YouTube or the Slack channel, if you guys can see that strong support. I have another trader who's requesting LIN. Sure, I can check that out for you. So yeah, so really, really good support. There's all the 2s coming in. And we had a really, really nice trapping hammer wick right here. What's up, Jesse? I got your text this morning. I will be giving you a call later today. Burrow Seppi. Miss you. Hope you're doing great, my man. So with this gap, this will qualify for me as 3 up days in a row so far. Here's a fun fact. I'm sure all of you know this, but when selling options, I sell my options, I would say 98% of them in the morning or a few minutes before market close. I'll say 98%. And that's because you're going to get the most implied volatility around there. So I'll be getting into a collar on some of the PayPal shares that I got put at 70 because, well, I'm already up nicely on them. I would say nicely, I'm up. But I did get paid to get put those shares and just had to hold through while it's at support. So it's gapping up to 73. So at open, I'll be selling some calls, buying some puts for January, regular January expiration, and that'll take me into earnings. And if I get called away on the shares I got put, great. And if not, great. So I love collars. It's great all around. So that being said, we are gapping up on PayPal and we are clearing the daily pivot. You're clearing 2 weekly pivots right here. So when I say pivots, the high of the last 2 weeks. And yes, we are trading into a little bit of resistance, but that's why I think that's could be a spot that we potentially look for. I'd realistically say a little bit of a move higher. So follow this squiggle pretty closely. We have a little bit of a move higher, then we have a retest at some point, maybe later in the week, and then we kind of bounce out of there. And I do think that overall higher is likely the move on PayPal, but it's a pretty cute little gap. So just throw that out there. Let's look at the NASDAQ ETF, which is the Qs, triple Qs. Long time ago, when I started trading, it was 4 Qs, QQ, QQ. Still not exactly sure why they changed it, but that's okay. The Qs also with a really good gap. Now, this is extremely important, these 2 candles here. When I say it's important, I think, according to Mr. Squiggles here on the screen, that we are most likely in one of 2 formations. I do think this move up and then that failure is what is drawn was this. And so I personally believe that this move here, right there, is the move that we're about to get. Just my theory, of course. I mean, Mr. Squiggles was drawn over 2 months ago. It's relatively close if you would agree. But my thought is that we probably rotate and then again potentially have one more big push down for the end of the year. Everyone kind of panics and then we start kind of bouncing out of there. But the reason these 2 candles are important are the sentiment. You got a strong bullish candle here. The very next day it gaps down and actually it doesn't open below the low and it doesn't take out the low. So it's a perfect inside candle, but it did gap down. So you have essentially this particular candle pattern. It's a rare pattern. Does anybody know the name for it? It's one that doesn't jump out all that frequently, but it is a little bit of a rare pattern. I have one video on this one, but this is called a wicked pair. Wicked pair candle pattern. Generally, it's supposed to be a bullish candle pattern, and this one, it does look like it can be, or it might be. But that's why we definitely do not want this low to get taken out, especially this week. That would be worst case scenario for all involved. For the bulls, if we gap up and just fade this gap today and tomorrow and close below the low of those 2 candles, that's worst case scenario. For the bulls, there's nothing stopping it if that happens. And if that happens this week, we're going to get absolutely Parmesan cheese shredded down into 245. Probably by next Thursday. Again, I don't foresee that happening. It's always good to plan. So 2 pretty strong little bull candles here, and we'll get a chance to see what happens. But definitely go look through all of your moving averages, have your lines on all of those because this is a brand new month. So looking at the Qs, right, closing below the 50, we're working on potentially forming a continuation pattern here called a RAB. Who knows what RAB stands for? That's supposed to be a B. Good old RAB. Rest after battle. My girl Maloney's been studying her candle charts. I love it. Yep, a RAB, rest after battle. So this particular candle here, the way the rest after battle pattern works is it needs to go lower than the low of this candle. And again, don't know if that's going to happen. Doesn't have to happen. Doesn't have to happen. But if it does break lower than that candle pattern, then the rest after battle continuation pattern would be complete, and we would probably slowly keep slipping down lower. So that's pretty much what my thoughts are on the Qs realistically on the monthly chart. Let's pop over to Apple, then we're going to look at Tesla. So Apple is very intriguing, ladies and gentlemen, because I'll show you on the daily chart. Did I already delete Mr. Squiggles? I did. Well, hold on. Hold on. Let me go back in time really quick. I did post it. Here it is. Okay. Mr. Squiggles making an appearance once again. So this is my thoughts on Apple over the last, I guess, 2 weeks. So this particular guy, I was expecting a little bit of a retracement, and that was because you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bear candles in a row, aka the most amount of bear candles you've had in a row since the last time that we bounced. So pretty shocking that it would happen twice. And then you got a 2-day bounce, pretty similar to the last time that it happened. And then you had a little bit of a lower low, pretty similar to the last time it happened. And then you got a nice little rally. I'm fine with this little rally, so feel free to take this little screenshot. This is very possible and pretty likely on Apple. Of course, it doesn't have to happen. This is just my opinion on what I think it could do. However, here's what's interesting. If I go into this monthly chart, we got something really cool. We got a hammer, aka a hangman candle, because it's kind of at a resistance level of some sort, but call it hammer, call it whatever you want. The name's irrelevant. That candle got closed below immediately. Now, granted, this was a month, so immediately took some time. But since that's the case, if this was a daily chart, this hammer to me would say, hey, this is supposed to go higher. So when it doesn't, it's going to be strong close. All those bulls probably trapped. So that's something to keep in mind. So therefore, if all these buyers are losing a little bit, my expectation is Apple probably does and most likely retest a little bit into here, 136-ish. But type a 7 into the chat pane, either in Slack, Zoom, or YouTube, and tell me if that looks a little bit like a double top to you. It does. It looks a little double top-ish. Now, granted, yesterday in Slack, I also posted this guy. Give me a few quick seconds. Happy New Year, everyone, by the way. I'm going to keep scrolling down. So we have Warren Buffett's portfolio, aka Berkshire Hathaway, and most of it's Apple, 40%. It's the largest holding that he has. Now, again, I'm not saying this is a big deal or a bad deal. It's just simply saying that it's relatively large. And if at any point in time he starts to sell at all, again, he won't, most likely. But if it's probably going to slowly trickle down into 116. And I don't know how much lower it's going to go. I don't think it's going to go much lower than that, but it's just something to keep in mind. So here's your weekly chart. One of the best bear call spreads I've done of the year last year was on the 5th of December when we were retesting the 100 simple from the bottom. Hector says that would be as bad as Elon selling Tesla. That is correct, at least in my opinion. It would be as bad as that. Yep. And then here's the daily chart. So again, very, very cute little hammer on the weekly. I really do like this gap up. So again, I think it could retest, but this is a strong gap. Remember, it's the gap at the very beginning of the year. That's a pretty big event, in my opinion. Nice open, so we could retest this and then kind of bounce. So we'll see. Maloney says, when Mr. Buffett wants to exit his position, does he have to disclose it like the government officials? He doesn't have to disclose it like government officials, but he has to disclose it, yes. I'm just making sure that there was a, I don't, government officials, I mean, they're not like, disclose. Yeah, he will absolutely have to post that. Yep. But great question. Great question. Just like we all knew when Elon Musk was selling his shares. It's happening too, if that was very public knowledge to you. I mean, I hope it was. It came out over here. So it's specifically, I'm pretty sure it was this day. Yeah. And the trend was already bearish. In fact, this purple line was the 200 simple moving average on a weekly chart. So here's my analysis on Tesla, and I will kind of give you guys all the breakdown. Really, really interesting gap. I know a lot of you are probably extremely bearish on Tesla, and I am not bullish as of right now. Long term, I'm bullish. I think this is a really, really cool buying opportunity at some point. However, this particular gap is a little bit more unique than you might give it credit for. And the reason I say that is because we are gapping away. It is a gap and go. We are clearing a gap. However, this gap here needs to be retested anyway. And I am okay, and it would make sense for Tesla to ultimately do something like this, just to retest a little bit. This thing hasn't even hit the 10 EMA at all since December 12th. I mean, that's wild. So I mean, it just needs to get back up there. Right? Wow, that is a lot. So this is the channel that I've been playing on Tesla for a little bit. You have a support resistance here. So the support resistance you can kind of see was formed as a little double bottom looking thing, which is pretty much the pre-market low. And this resistance here is a pre-market resistance. Again, I'm just drawing straight horizontal lines, nothing special. But you do have some people that are trapped. So now I'm going to pop in here to the 15-minute chart. The 15-minute chart, I'm just kind of looking for some of this indecision to take place. And I'm going to draw two more small lines with a little bit of a different color. Maybe just one line, because I think the other one's the exact same. So I'll just do this in purple, I guess. And it is a good bearish gap. Again, not denying that at all. So now I'm going to turn off the regular hours for just a quick second. And again, strong gap down. Very strong. I'm certainly not disagreeing that we can't have some selling. What it looks to me like is we'll get a little bit of a bounce, potentially some selling down into 116, maybe even 114, where I do have a relatively large buy order. And then we'll see if it bounces out of 114. Even if it's just for a week, right? I'm not saying it has to bounce forever. Me buying it at 114, I mean, you will see some shares come in when Tesla gets to 114. But even if it goes up to 120, I'll start getting into a collar. I'm just thinking that Tesla's probably a little on the lower side than it quote unquote should be or could be or needs to be. And with that being the case, my plan is to get a little bit with this gap fill and see what happens from there. That's essentially it. Back over to the regular trading, the extended hours. This is a pretty good gap. You do have a lot of pre-market support down here. So, I mean, again, it's at 118, you know, that's if it trades up to 121 and we want to short it and it rolls over, fantastic. If it trades down to here, I'll be very, very careful going long blindly. At 116. I'm not going to just buy shares there like I'm buying a candy bar, you know, eyes closed, swiping the credit card, hoping for the best. I won't do that on Tesla today at 116 because it is a gap on a daily chart, a weekly chart, and a monthly chart. It is a bearish gap without question. And we can easily make it down to 114. And full disclosure, if we go down to 114 today and go lower, I mean, I'll get stopped out of a position. I'll lose an R. I mean, that's okay. That's happened before. So anyway, that's pretty much it on Tesla. Really, really strong gap. Extremely interesting to watch. I'll have it on my radar, of course. along with a few other day trades, and be analyzing that. So this was requested in the chat pane was Lin, ticker symbol LIN. And Lin is a great gap to have on your watch list because this thing is getting just spanked. Just really, really spanked. I mean, it's gapping below all kinds of things. Had a double top, had a gap down. This is an island reversal right here. So really, really good gap on ticker symbol LIN. Long-term moving averages, those could be a potential target. Daily chart is forever away. This is the weekly chart, sorry. Weekly chart, pretty much forever away. Little support resistance over there. And again, I'm not saying the stock has to go to 0. I'm saying you can go to 303, which represents a 14-point move to the downside, AKA a trading opportunity. So I'll put it on the day trade watch list just to see. And I'll also put it on the afternoon swing trading room for Wednesday, which I will be a part of when I get back in Nashville, Tennessee. Fly back to Nashville today. Got 5 minutes left. What else would you beautiful people like me to review in the next 5 minutes? Dustin wants to look at Billy, BILI, and then Square. All right, I can do that. So Billy, cute little gap up. This is a China gap, and I actually am slightly bullish on China right now. There are some signals and some volume that tell me that I could make some bull money as we go a little bit higher. This is a pretty cute gap. And it did have a nice consolidation here, nice little pennant pattern. So we'll see how it moves and what it ends up doing. But I do like it. It makes sense. Here's the weekly chart. So we have a lot of room to go up. And that's why I'm, BABA's the stock that I've been watching a lot. And I am in shares long as a potential bullish swing trade anyway. And BABA, I think, will lead potentially the China movement to slowly grind higher. If it's going to, I believe this covered call will expire worthless, but I can buy it back pretty much anytime I want for a profit. If BABA breaks out of this consolidation into 96, kind of starts to retest, this could be a decent little bull swing for you to consider or to kind of watch as well. So feel free to keep an eye on that. My boy Bill asked to review Square. Square is gapping up this morning nicely, 5%. It's a really, really good gap on Square. So you're gapping above 2 weeks worth of data. Do you say data or data? Do you really hit that hard A? I'm a data kind of person. Data and pecan. People who say pecan and data, we probably just don't hang out that much. But yeah, cinder block is gapping up and it probably will retest. We most likely will fade into the 100 and then bounce off of it later in the day. I'm most likely going to be patient on this one. I do have some shares, a decent amount of shares of Square, aka cinder block. And we'll see how it takes place. I don't plan on getting into a covered call yet. We didn't have 2 up days in a row. Friday was not an up day on Square. So I'm going to just be a little more on the patient side, see if we can get back into 72 or maybe even 75 before I can sell a call. But this is a good gap on Square. It is clearing some decent pivots. And that pullback to the 100 looks nice. So I can put on the day trade list and we'll see what happens. So there we go. Good stuff. Good stuff. I love your guys' comments in the chat pane. Well, YouTube, thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you for being a faithful subscriber and watching all of our videos. Much more to come. We're going to do our best to continue to enrich lives. You are